Because he knew everything about Peggy. He knew where she got her hair done, nails done, salon, yoga studio, where she worked, and this is all he did all day long. He was self-employed landscaper. He wasn't accountable to anybody but himself, so he was able to maneuver freely on a daily basis. He began following her, maybe one car back, maybe two car back. He would sit in a parking lot where he knew she could see him and just wait for her. He was calling her on her cell phone, sometimes over 100 times a day. There was a few obscene text messages, thrown in every once in a while.
I can remember years and years just talking on the telephone in my kitchen. He would stand right there in the doorway. My neighbor and I would talk over the fence, and I'd look up at the door, and he's standing there. I'll never forget this day. I was walking the dog around the block, and I was thinking, this is great, just me and the dog. And I ran into a neighbor on the next block whose kids were in my kids' class at school. And we sat and chatted for a while, and here came my husband around in a car. And I thought, and he's like, well, I was just worried about you. But pretty much he was saying, I'm worried about you, and I get your ass home.
I have no idea to this day how I figured out where I lived or where I went to school, but he did. And he would just show up. I can distinctly remember coming out of classes, and he would be sitting on the hood of my car, just staring at me. And I would turn around and run away. And, I constantly lived my life every time I saw him going in the opposite direction. I didn't know what he wanted. I didn't know what he was capable of. And I never knew where he was going to be.
I would show up at work and he would be there in the parking lot. Or he would wait until the people left and then come into the building. Or he would just call. And he would call over and over and over. And it was a workplace phone, so I had to answer the phone. It's not like I could just not answer it, because he knew that I wasn't going to answer my personal phone. Go drive by my house and then send me an email. Oh, I drove by your house last night and I saw your lights were on. And I'm like, what? Ah!
He went and hid in the bushes at her work one morning. And when Peggy got out of her car to go to work, he jumped out of the bushes to surprise her. He had a dozen roses and a wedding ring with him and said, I love you, I want you to marry me. And Peggy didn't even look at him and walked right by him. And he was so angry. Because Peggy wasn't reacting to any of this cell phone calls, surveillance, marriage proposal, Patrick decided to go back home and make a flyer. And the flyer said, have you seen me? My name is Peggy. I'm a slut. I'm a whore. I've had 2 abortions. Would you like to date me? I cheat on my boyfriends and my husbands, and I'll cheat on you. And he put Peggy's cell phone number on it. And what he did with this flyer is posted it and spread it through the city of Albuquerque.
I came home one night and there was a dead cat hanging from the chandelier in my apartment. And I knew that he was sending me a message. I just felt like he was telling me, don't mess with me. He knew what got to me. And he knew that I protected my cats like no other. And that may sound silly to some people, but that was what was important to me.
They take what is most important to you. That's what makes it so abusive. It doesn't have to be important to somebody else. It has to be significant and devastating to you. And for some people, it's their children. For me, it's my animals. And he always knew exactly what buttons to push.
Every time we would discuss my ending the relationship, there were always threats. And at this time, it was when O.J. Simpson was going through his trial. And I can remember statements from my husband that he got away with it. And that would be all he had to say. He got away with it. And pretty much it meant that I didn't want to go there.